Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of the 2024 meeting minutes. I'll take a motion to approve. Is there a second? Any discussions? Questions? Okay. Hearing and seeing none online. All those in favor of approving meeting minutes signify by saying aye. Raise your hand.
Sorry about that, Patrick.
Oh, no problem. That was my fault. Okay, so we do have a form. We're good to go.
Oh, yeah.
And before we financial reports, we do have a couple guests from the public today. I wanted to introduce them. Mr. Reardon, did you want to introduce yourself to the group here?
Sure. So my name is Mike Reardon. I'm a resident of Swickley Heights, and I've been talking to Patrick for the last couple of months. My colleague Jeff Lipton, we're with QBRA, the Playground Recreation Association, and Patrick's been super helpful in helping us navigate some grant opportunities, and getting to know more about this group and what it's do and how you do it. And so we suggested that they can do that.
Recreation Association. Been down a long time.
I have two.
So, we have a major project. That we're developing on a plan to be at least in school district. Now has a baseball field in the soccer. Hope is to play the soccer field. And some other things that would serve the general public. Playgrounds that. So we hope one day to get on your agenda and talk with you about what we can do in your municipalities and all that people have their own.
It's great. I have been familiar with your association when it first started, that's how long ago. My boys wanted to play soccer for the academy, and another field and would be wonderful. But it certainly is something that this valley doesn't want to use a lot. Where is the land located, or is it on the valley side?
It's on the Bellacre side. The Bellacre side is one of the school district. And we signed a 50-year lease.
Oh, great.
Schools. And, we are responsible for most of the maintenance. One day we will have a soccer field, a little league field, and then a closed field across.
Very good.
We're in the second year of the capital campaign for that, and as we've just been talking about, I talked to Nate, for the next couple of times, and the concept of this group, and I've been talking to Patrick, it seemed like it would be, frankly, for us, more efficient to come talk to you guys at some point all at once, rather than taking up time in each one of the council meetings or something. So I'm super interested to learn about this group and develop it. And introduce ourselves later and
Welcome.
thank
Welcome
you.
very much. Yes. Okay,
Nice to be back.
I hope so. I hope so. It's a worthwhile endeavor. It's a big endeavor. But I understand how those things go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Sixth on our is thank you, Patrick, for asking me to come to us. Very nice. And there is approval of August financial reports, unpaid bills, and payroll summary. I'll take a motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Patrick, do you want to walk us through
Sure.
some of the items on this
So, as you'll see reflected in the budget, most of our, all of our dues are in. You'll see a lot of our project management fees that have been sent out are coming in. You'll also see, a lot of the annual dinner, sponsorships and registration fees reflected as well. So, right now, I think we're in very good financial standing. I would note there's a few bills, including one for the Post Gazette that came last Friday, that weren't in the original packets that are reflected in this current packet. So that is just one correction in the current packet that's not in yours that you probably don't see.
Great. Any questions from the members at all? About anything? Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll take a vote approval. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, down to the president's report. I must say, in looking back at the event at the Edgeworth Club, I'd like to thank everybody, but I also thought it was a very good venue. And I think in my mind that it did what we've been looking at dinners do, is that you mingle with other municipalities, with the sponsors, and I think this about. So thank you, Patrick, for all your work and putting into that. For the president's report, I'm just going to report very briefly that maybe sometime in the future, and this is what I call driving from Glen Osborne to Eatsdale, Fox in the car. I was thinking of the various communities that are in the Quaker Valley. And I know we know the numbers here and you're getting to know them better. Maybe, just maybe, Bob would like to do this. It might be fun to go visit as members to tour the communities. We have very historic communities, very old communities here. I know I have Bellevue is very old and historic. Well, actually, they all are coming up Beaver Road. Having read the history of this area, and Beaver Road was one of the places along which people settled, and then the railroad came out, and more people were moved from town out this way. But I do think each of these communities have a very unique history. When I first came here, why are some of them so small, big? But there's reasons for that. There's history behind that. I would, as just as a thought, many it can just float in the air along, but it would be nice sometime just to set up maybe a little tour of the community, a historic tour if people are interested. And that's my presence.
Thank you. I do want to rewind real quick back to the financials. I was trying to set up a meeting with our budget committee. Dates didn't quite work out, so we're going to reschedule that meeting after this board meeting. So we'll have the budget for approval at our October. Those that were looking for that this month, not quite yet, but the budget, there is a draft budget ready. It's just a matter of getting it reviewed by our committee and bringing it.
And I would say if anybody would like to stay after this meeting to join that community.
Sure.
Certainly. Okay, next is the Route 65 update.
Couple things. So as you can imagine, the last month's been pretty busy, so we haven't really had any subcommittee meetings, but there is some news in the Route 65. We're up to 8 municipalities who have approved the Route 65 intergovernmental agreement. We have 3 that are pretty much under the umbrella of one solicitor that we anticipate getting some feedback from them eventually.
We did as.
Okay. So he was okay with what we recommended?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. So slow but steady, and if that happens, then we'll get to 11. And some of the 4 are just a couple of smaller communities that will help usher them along. But I think we're in really good shape, and I think we're on track to have that approved by all 15 well in advance of the end of the So Donna emailed me last week and said you guys will be approving it at your next meeting as is. So, good progress there. A couple other little notes. So the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs is doing a capstone course for their MPA, Master of Public Administration students. So there's 10 students, and part of the project is they're evaluating the Reconnecting Communities grant that the Manchester Citizens Corporation received. And a part of that as well is what else is out there once you cross that Route 65 border, right? So, Sabina Dietrich, who's the professor of that course, is also my professor, and probably John's professor. She reached out and said, you know what? Why don't you come and talk to students about what you've done and what QBCOG's about and Route 65 as a whole. So 3 out of the last 5 weeks, I've got to participate in their course between Zoom and today was in person. So really cool to be connected with the university and talking with them. They seem like a pretty involved group. This is a really cool capstone course, I think. Like when I was a student there, wasn't nearly as involved. This one, I think it's a great opportunity for them. They did a walking tour last week in the Manchester neighborhood. So I was like, wow, that's hands-on, pretty cool stuff. So,
What's the name?
well, it's the capstone course for the public administration students.
So
It's not
like
really,
a student of the master.
yeah, like you have to have that.
It's like a final sort of project.
Yeah, to graduate, you have to have that capstone. So, you don't know what it's going to be. You don't have a choice really. It's just kind of, hey, this is what your capstone is going to be as an MPA student. And I think they really lucked out. I think it's a pretty cool opportunity. So Roberta Edwards is also on the call. So now yeah, so that's sort of connected to Route 65, and they seem really interested in what we're doing as far as the intergovernmental agreement and just I'll help out however they want to help. Sure.
Okay,
What's wrong?
I emailed her the day after. Okay. So when we had our QBCOG event, there were a few people who came from Manchester Citizens Corporation to our event, which is really exciting. Most people applied for a Reconnecting Communities grant, because you can think of like how 65, before you get to the McKees Rocks Bridge, if you're heading out of Pittsburgh, you go, it's like really high off the ground, and it intersects the Manchester and Chateau neighborhood to the north side. And LaShawn was telling me that like she was raised by this couple who like it inspired her like go out and move the world. And she said, "What do you want me to do?" And they said, "Get rid of that road." So she has been like working like crazy to do this, and they, with the city of Pittsburgh and their organization, they were granted $1.4 million to plan. That was just a planning grant to plan how they would reconnect those communities, given that road is highly traveled road. And so when they came to our event, they're like, "Hey, you're all living up, up farther on this same road. You're concerned about the road. Let's partner in some way." And which is huge for the COG, because they already have gotten farther in their process. And so if we can learn from them and partner with them, they're at, I think, a different level of ready. She was like, "We're ready to get the politicos at the table." And she was great. She was great. Yeah.
Yeah, she really is.
So I wrote to her the next day and thanked her for coming. And then she wrote back and she said that they're putting together a leadership Pittsburgh cohort, and that they would like somebody from the COG to meet that team. And so they want to work together. And I think that's a huge step forward for our efforts, because it just widens the scope of the importance of the project and how many people it affects. So that is super exciting, and I'm hoping to keep in touch with her, and I'm sure she's going to keep in touch with you too, Patrick.
No doubt about that.
Yeah,
But,
she was a very dynamic person.
She was.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
And for those, again, like there's like a brick wall, right? that separates that neighborhood from the riverfront. And for those that don't know, there's billions of dollars of investment coming to that neighborhood. There's a development starting in January. It's called the Esplanade. There's gonna be a big Ferris wheel, water park. I'm sure all of us like rolled our eyes. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's coming. They're actually going to start development in January. So the Ferris wheel is probably going to be ready by the NFL draft in 2026. And there's residential and commercial development. So the goal really is to not be left out. And I mean, they're not going to have the road brought down to level in 2 years, but it's all about step-by-step process, and they're moving, and they have the leadership in the city of Pittsburgh set to really focus on that. It's exciting. So those that aren't aware, keep an eye on that. You're going to see a lot of development pretty much past the casino and the West End Bridge, all on the riverfront there. That's going to be a really interesting development.
And it has changed so much.
So get excited for that Ferris wheel. Let's go.
I think that's also part of River Light, which is, a nonprofit works in the city on all the rivers. And we have some connection with the executive director there, so if you want to work with them, we have a connection there too. So I thought it was a huge show of support for them to come to our event, and it just shows their eagerness to work with us. So it's exciting.
And there's a connection that sort of made this all happen. Peter, Michael Baker International,
Yes.
he works for them and he's worked with us. So that's how this whole
I thought
ball
that was
wax was
incredible,
going.
Patrick. He was like, "There's someone I want to introduce you to," and I was like, "How are you? Like, you're like, like he knows about art, the design. He was the designer for our part of the
Right,
project.
right.
It's amazing."
So maybe it will not be.
Right?
I think these connections are very. Why should we stop? Between Pittsburgh and.
Right.
Sure.
Well, and if PennDOT's already going to be paying attention to that section of the roadway, then why not be like, hello, look a little farther and see all the issues there.
Well, not only that, as you go forward, if you have a plan, and PennDOT's more likely to just know. Anything else? Okay. Let's move on to the Emergency Preparedness Committee update.
Similar to the Route 65 committee, they're warning at subcommittee meetings last month. So, Barbara, you might have some news about Osborne.
We did pass our EMP. That's good news for us. I've been worried, well, it was one of the last things for small community to think that they could do. Finally. And Bill has gone to the emergency meeting. And council is more than willing, as part of the EOP, is participation of council. Which should be, they should know the emergency first. We're all volunteers. I've had to declare 2 states of emergencies, and both of them I was on my way to the Chesapeake Bay.
Go back.
Yeah. That is trouble. But I think we're getting the smaller communities on board, which I think is important. Very much. Okay. On to the good. Anything else about the emergency? I assume Edgeworth has an EOP that's been.
Every 2 years. Every years.
I was born to participate.
Not only are you looking at the new emergency management coordinator to John's Lockefeller, or the manager, but also the EMC, I'm assuming, right? No? Oh,
So.
fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always thought it was a little odd that like chief manager was the EMC.
Not interested.
Fair enough.
Marty had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
Moving on to grant status report.
Okay, so as you'll see in the packet, again, it just keeps growing and growing. I don't want to focus too much on what is already underway. I always encourage, if you see a project that's in your community, and it lingers around, you don't see any updates, reach out to me and we'll give you the updates. But there is plenty of news on the new application front. So as we get to page 3 here, you'll see we applied for 11 Gaming Economic Development and Tourism Fund grants for over $3.8 million. So really excited about some of these projects. Swickley Heights applied for 2, Lee Township applied for 2, Emsworth Borough applied for 1, Glen Osborne Borough applied for 1. We applied on behalf of the Fern Hollow Nature Center for 1 of theirs, the Edgeworth Water Authority for 1 of theirs, Bellevue Borough, Leppo Township has 2. So some really great projects there. And again, as you'll see, this is a much bigger pot of money. So the application numbers are much higher than compared to like CDBG projects. So we'll find out what projects get selected probably around January, maybe late December in the gaming pot. So stay tuned on that front. But it was great work with all of you to get these in the hopper, and we'll see which ones get there. Also, we applied for a variety of Act 152 projects, which are demolition projects. Leedsdale's applying for a demolition on Washington Street here in the borough. Bellevue Borough has a cluster of homes that they're looking to demolish. And then our CDBG year 51, we had a total of 1, 2, 4, 5 applications. Leedsdale Borough, Bellevue Borough, Municipal Authority of Edgeworth Borough, Lee Township, and Swickley Borough. Variety of projects, mostly ADA projects, but there is a water line replacement project. So those will probably be announced sometime in the April or May timeframe, maybe later like this year. We didn't find out until July which projects were picked. You never know if I'll get it. So I'll certainly let everyone know as news arises, but excited to see what gets.
Discussion. Thank you for all your work on the grants.
It's been a busy month.
Maybe I'm going to wish you dinner too earlier. And send it out to the grants.
Yep, followed us. Yeah. Yeah, usually the grants were due in October and our dinner was always in October. So I said, let's do August. So I get away from that. I can focus on the dinner, focus on grants, and the grants came. Who knows?
Quick question about the LSA. I saw announced no later than September 17th.
Oh, it was later. Yes, so that I was told from our project managers and people that we applied through DCD that September 17th was the day, because ironically the LSA applications for 2024 opened up on September 1st. So it's like, well, if you applied in 2023, you want to know if your project was picked or not before you apply again. Unfortunately, the powers that be decided they don't want to announce anything before the election. One side or the other.
Oh my gosh, really?
So November 17th is when we're going to maybe find out what it's been.
Like this slows down.
Yeah, so I'm going to encourage anyone that we had 5 applicants last year that applied for LSA funding. Not 5 3 applicants for 5 projects. So I'm going to encourage them to reapply for the same project they applied for last year, plus whatever they're looking for this year, because we're only have a choice. And if it gets picked, that's great. I'm sure they'll just crumple up the application, toss it over their shoulders, and we'll just go with what was funded. But I don't want anyone to miss out on opportunities for money. We just can't wait on them. So, and the application deadline is 13 days after the next meeting. So disappointing to say the least.
Okay, Patrick, to the executive director's report.
All right, so we went over the CD projects that were awarded. We went over the gaming grants, LSA. So yeah, I just wanted to really, there's really we've already talked about this, so we can kind of skip that. We'll go over the reception later in the meeting, and we already approved the dues rates. So a lot of this is just recapping what's happened in the last 4 weeks.
I do wonder, how's our glass recycling?
We crossed the 200-ton threshold. Crossed this 2 weeks ago. So we were at like 196, and then we had 8 tons of glass that was recycled in Avalon. So we're over 200 tons in like less than 2 years. So a lot of glass. So you know, it's tapered off a little bit. Like we averaged 2.5 pulls a month before the waste management started accepting glass again. Now we're like 2. So we're like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 less pulls a year on pace to do that,
Yeah.
but we're still processing a lot of glass. And the pulls that we're pulling are heavier pulls. Whereas before it might have been 3 or 4 tons of glass in each pull. Now it's like 8. So I think we're getting more bang for our buck, which is a good thing. We don't want empty half full bins. But I have noticed fewer calls to empty bins. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
but we're still processing quite a bit.
Good news, good news. So could I ask how Edgewood's recycling, because you have the state of the art recycling?
I don't know if I call it state of art, but we have 2 cardboard dumpsters.
Yeah.
We have a glass recycling dumpster, also others. I believe last year we recycled about 32 tons. So it's a lower volume, but our centers, so our residents, so.
Yeah.
And also the day.
Would you like to tell the group what happened whenever we opened our glass recycling center? Good.
It was great. We're very happy we did because last week's like significant. We can only assume it's because of the scoff loss from our neighboring towns.
Coming to Edgewood.
Also
Get it
recycling
caught on
our
camera.
cardboard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, volume went way down. What happened?
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's how it should be. Yeah.
The guilt was on the lid, was on the Amazon boxes, cardboard.
Oh,
We knew he was coming.
Public Works Director asked to take the boxes back.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to hear. Still operating. Anything else in the director's report?
No, not this one.
In your packet is, Act 152 for reoccurring resolutions, approval of Act 152 for reoccurring resolutions. I take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Old business. Sorry. You already went over the governmental. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll just highlight some of it, and just to highlight the resolutions. Those are 2 demolition projects we applied for. The deadline was last Friday. So these are like retroactive to what we applied for on behalf of Leedsdale and Bellevue Borough. So once this is signed by Barbara and I'll send this over to Allegheny County so our applications are completely finished.
Right.
For the dinner, just want to highlight, you know, we set a new record for sponsorships. We have 14 this year. So that's great to see. That's always, we couldn't do it without sponsors, especially with like, we don't charge, we charge a fair amount, I feel like, and we wouldn't be able to do that unless the event was subsidized by our sponsors. So 14 in total, which is a new record. We had over 60 registrants. I think we had like 59 people show up in total. Few people didn't come. But yeah, I think it was a great event. We changed up the format totally for those that weren't there this year. Whereas in the past, we had a traditional sit-down dinner with the speaker. This year, we sort of encapsulated what was the first hour of every event, cocktail hour, for 2 hours. And we were going to have it outside, but it was a super hot day that was supposed to have a storm. The Edgeworth Club proactively moved it inside for us, where I was a little disappointed that they did that without letting me know. It worked out in the end because it was very hot and everyone seemed to really enjoy it inside. So seemed to be a blessing in disguise. I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but it seemed like there was a totally different energy that I've never seen at these events. People were hanging out, mingling, having a good time. So, I mean, is there anyone that was there, please hear what you guys thought. Which they are.
This venue should be full. I think it's great. Obviously.
There you go. Mayor Ford, you were there. What'd you think? Good.
It's fun. I'm laughing, so it's good. I don't know, I just felt like this more stress energy. I will say that there are a couple of like sponsors that came up to our table and tried to give out business cards to us and talk about their business. So I kind of wonder if in the future, I like that format. I think we should do this in, like cocktail party format, you know, instead of sit down. But maybe have some way of like sponsors having like 15 minutes to mingle with COG delegates, or I think that those people, they're donating their money because they want us to consider their services they provide, you know. So maybe it could be, we could give them some opportunity to hand out their cards or have a table where they can put their information or
Yeah.
something where
That
we
would
can
be-
take it so that they feel like they're getting something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will say I did talk to some of those. But more on weekly basis.
Yeah, and I thank you to your wife for the
Yes,
name
name
tags,
tags.
because that makes it easier for each other. Yeah.
Nice big lettering. It was very nice.
She did great.
Yeah, she had she has a Cricut machine, so she was able to put together. But yeah, the name tags that go with that format were a must. You know,
Yeah,
usually with the name tags, you get the Sharpie, kind of roll your eyes, but like this year with like the way we did it, I feel like it made it a lot easier for people to go up, talk to each other that maybe didn't. know each other. That was
right. And you got to meet some people that you were hoping to, right, or that you knew online, not really face to face. It's very nice.
I think that we could benefit also from doing remarks, just like one set of remarks, that, and then opening it up. You know, I think that you don't want to do the remarks right at the beginning, because you want people to like get into
Right.
the spirit of the event first, but, if we just do one set of remarks, and it might be, because I was kind of surprised by how many people who are not COG delegates were there.
Yeah.
It might be nice to do just a short summary of what we've accomplished this year as a COG, so that the people who are visitors, like the Manchester Citizens Corporation, could understand the kinds of things that we're doing.
That's a good idea. Some sort of formal introduction and explaining what the COG is and.
Yeah.
In terms of what COG is doing as a people.
Right.
And. Yeah. Which is fine, they do that to me all the time, but, yeah. Any other comments about the event?
Very good, thank you.
Okay, hard to recycle.
Yeah, so as you may remember, our July hard to recycle event was postponed. There was some paving that was going on in the industrial park. It lingered a little longer than I think industrial park anticipated. So it just wasn't safe or really feasible to have the event weekend that was supposed to happen. So PRC had to pull the plug. They notified everyone that was registered. There was over 400 registrants. They all got an email. And they took care of that, which was great. So everyone that was registered previously has received information. Let me just share my screen about the new event, which is going to happen on October 26th. Same time, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Same format, everything like that. I have a new flyer. I'm going to send it out to our managers and secretaries group as well as our board. So if you have a Facebook page, a website, however you distribute your news, please put this new one up. Anyone that maybe didn't get a chance to register or missed the registration last go around, it's going to be open again for a few weeks here for them to register this time. So these are great events to get ready your TVs, your tires, heating monitors, anything like electronics. Anyone that wants to volunteer, we're looking for volunteers. We're supposed to provide 10. So we kind of scratched and clawed our way to get 7 before the July event was supposed to happen, which is good, but not quite where we need to be. So I'm going to reach out to everyone that volunteered last go around. And if you're interested, volunteers can dispose of $50 worth of material. So that's like TV and some tires, or in the case might be, for free. It's going to be a lot cooler than it would be in July. So if you want to come hang out, nice crisp fall day, before you go watch college football, come on down. Appreciate it. And that's kind of the event in summary. Glad that it's back on the roster.
Yeah.
26th of October.
I know, because I'm thinking like, I
Yeah.
don't think I can volunteer and not.
But yeah, no rush. We have a few weeks. So if you have someone in mind, or if you want to do it, just send me an email. We'll get you registered in the volunteer list. But yeah, please promote the event regardless of volunteer or not. So that way your residents can get rid of their junk.
Absolutely. Okay. Now to concerns by delegates.
Sure, let's go around real quick. Roberta, what's new in Avalon? Looks like we may have lost Roberta. Okay, on to Dan. Dan, what's new in Bellevue?
Not a whole lot. Patrick, I know you were on the meeting last night. We were awarded a WalkWorks grant. So we had our first active transportation meeting last night for the steering committee. So we're excited about that to see what HRG can come up with as far as an active transportation for walking, cycling throughout Bellevue and connecting our community. And other than that, we are excited that we did get our latest phase of Streetscape out to bid and accepted the bid that we had received. So we're looking forward to move on that sooner rather than later. So that's about it for now.
Very good. All righty. Let's see, John, other than, oh, go ahead. Take it away. What's new, Metro?
Oh, let's see, we're gonna do a big wall project on Beaver Road. So our deteriorated wall will be able to fix this year thanks to an LSA grant from last year. It's going to be a big project.
Are you closing Beaver Road or
Online.
one lane?
It'll be about 3-week duration. Temporary stoplights will be put up at Edgeworth Lane and Church Lane. So 1 lane through.
What was happening in Pontefract Park? I thought like sort of near Beaver over the summer.
We had a bridge, yeah, there's a little bridge there overlooks the creek that had repairs performed underneath.
Okay,
Some riprap and some other things on the sides.
so they're finished with that project.
Yeah, they have to wait till the grass grows to get the rest of their money, but that's it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I have to hold a little bit back. That's all.
And this will be John's last meeting with us.
Oh, yeah, if you figured that was known, this is, moving on as borough manager in Edgeworth. I'm gonna move to town of McCandless and take over as their town manager on October 1st. Ellen's getting promoted. She'll be the borough manager starting on October 1st. So we have an ad out right now for her to find an assistant manager. Had a couple good interviews and have another one tomorrow. So as part of my night tonight, I'll have to resign as your treasurer, effective tonight, so you'll need to find a new treasurer.
Thank you for your service.
Yes,
Very
thank
well.
you, John.
It's been rigorous. It's hard to keep Patrick on task with the budget. He's a slacker and he's not.
I know what a slacker he is, yeah.
But he's done a really good job.
Yes, he has, absolutely.
He definitely had great training in his prior job, so.
And I wouldn't be here without John. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be. He took a shot at a kid, 23 years old, graduating from school, and that's how I got my start in local government. So can't thank him enough.
It's a good shot.
And yeah, he's gonna be deeply missed, but
He's a friend, and I can't wait to see what great things he does in the kennels.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you too. That's great for both of you. So will you be the delegate then for the car?
Yes,
All right.
I'll be the one coming.
She promises to attend at least as much as I do.
Whoa.
Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes.
All right, Barbara, what's new?
Oh, and Glenn Osborne, we're just, rolling along, we're almost past a parking ordinance. Until we realize that we wrote some things wrong, and so we're redoing some things. But, the nice thing was that it's a small road, it's colonial. And the neighbors came in twice, wrote letters. And I must say, going to Saffron's or somewhere, which is where we meet most people. I had them come up and thank Glenn Osborne for listening to them. And oftentimes when we are in political life or working as borough managers and secretaries, that we don't get that thank you. And it was very nice. They were just happy that somebody listened and tried to work it out to no avail, but we're still working on it, but. Once again, we found that we own a parcel of land that we never knew that we owned. So, you know, surprise. But that worked out for parking. But, so sometimes things do. And that's Glenn Osborne.
Very good. Art, what's new in Aleppo?
Thing to do is level, except that the pickleball courts will be finished probably definitely between the end of November, middle of December. There might be 11 courts in there, about 30,000 square feet, plus a little office and a small store, plus some professionals to be in there to help teach people what pickleball is. I can tell you that much time on basement and instead our meeting at a meeting at Sonic Village, that was high excitement. My name.
Not a pickleballer, right?
No, my name will go.
Now, that's gonna be big for I feel like pickleball is a big deal now, so
It
that
is.
gives me a lot of new visitors to Aleppo Township.
This is the only sports entertainment that is in Lebanon. So it's a new venture for us. Although we didn't have anything to do with it except to vote for all the paperwork, which we did in a professional manner.
As we know, Aleppo will do, but yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Donna, what's new in Lee?
We're still waiting for the port project, but as far as the high school, we're having a special meeting on the 30th of September. And, we're going to have an executive session from 7 to 7:30. 7:30 on. We open to anyone who would like to attend. Let's see. I'm gonna think about it.
Very good. Mayor Ford, what's new in Leedsdale?
Well, I don't know about new, but we're still working on trying to improve payment card. New playground equipment. Actually, we talked about having. For basketball, games. We don't think we have to improve to do that. The other project is trying to get an emergency exit out of the industrial. There's one way in and one way out. The few residents that live in there, they want an emergency exit, so we're working with custom help to be able to pass through their plant. And I believe there's an old bridge that we need to have it fixed with friends, and that will give us our exit, and Amber's will be good. So
How many residents do you have on this?
I want to say 50. I could be wrong, could be a little bit more, but not very many. The Budget Corporation and the Retail Investment Fund combine a healthy appraisals. You know, residential, we're
Yeah.
residential property. Washington Street, I think you're saying, yeah.
All right, Julie.
I learned at our FOG event that, Sustainable Swiftly will be sunsetting. And it was, you know, there were several women from Edgeworth, Sewickley, who got together to form this. They did become a nonprofit, and they were like under the umbrella nonprofit, the Garden Club.
Yeah.
Of Sewickley. And, that they have various personal reasons that they cannot continue with the organization. So, so I know that I just want to encourage us to be thinking about sustainable issues and resiliency in our communities because of the extreme weather and flooding. And I know we've had that in Sewickley recently, like in the past few months, we've had flooding. So there is a Sustainable Pennsylvania and the Pennsylvania Municipal League have a sustainable conference at Penn State. It's November 20th through the 22nd. I'm gonna try to go to that, and the theme is assessing and addressing resiliency. And Sewickley is putting in EV charging stations right now. Yeah, right behind Caliente's in that parking lot on Division Street. I think we're doing 4.
Very good.
So they were just doing the electricity for that, and then I think those should be up in the next couple months, but. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to focus my effort on and get some of the council, like Sewickley Council, to start looking into like different sustainability efforts that we could be trying.
I know that Glen Osborne just looked at our solar. We were only allowing solar in our zoning ordinances to commercial,
Oh.
which we never, when we passed it, we just didn't look at it. And
Yeah,
so we're going back and reviewing.
so Sustainable Sewickley's actually their last event was a solar tour, and it was on last Saturday. And my house was one of the houses on the tour.
neat.
We got solar last year. And I think there were 4 or 5 houses on the tour, and they had various different kinds of solar, like one had a full Tesla roof. And there was a passive house on the tour. So residents who were interested in that could talk to, you know, people who had actually done it. We didn't get a big turnout. I mean, it was like 5 people that came to our house all day. We had some good conversations, but you know, I think if the borough had been sponsoring that, maybe we could have promoted it. Well, I don't know. I don't know if the borough's not sponsoring, but I think there's some interest, you know. That's all.
Very good. Nate, you're up.
Nothing here, Patrick. Pretty quiet.
All right. Anybody else? What didn't go? Any other thoughts? All right, you ready to close up shop?
I'll take a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye, and if you're on the budget committee, we're meeting after.